buildings. Now, a little bit about this mural project. So this project would be through Decentralization Arts Grant through Saratoga Arts. So Saratoga Arts is kind of the shell corporation for this. This would be a NICA grant. There are two types of grants, community education and individual arts grants. I would be seeking to apply for an education arts grant. The grant, for this grant, you can receive up to $3,000. The budget, which I'll show you later, is well within this range. And so I'm not asking for the school to pay for any of this. So Hannah Williams is a portrait artist. She is out of Glens Falls, Queensbury area. Lovely individual. I've met with her several times over the summer to discuss this project. And these are some examples of murals that she's done in the past. She does have a lot of experience doing murals. She also taught classes at the community level for some of her works. And these are very large-scale projects. As you can see, these are shipping containers. So you can see not only does she have experience, but her work is of quality. So, Hannah and I would talk together, and we drafted up two different mural proposals for inside Loversville High School.
We're proposing these murals to be right across from the lunchroom. There's about, I believe, almost an 8-foot wall by 15-foot section, which we would be proposing for this. The wall is blank. There is a tiny little fire hazard, lever alarm, which we would obviously not paint, or we would stay clear of that. But that's all pretty pictures about the section we're working on. So, this is the first mural proposal. Our thinking for this was that we want to highlight the natural flora and fauna of the area and have it also educational. So, for instance, using the skyline of the Sacandaga Lake or other lake skyline, mountain skylines in the area. We want to have identifiable wildlife that is regional and plant life, so that for, let's say, a biology teacher or earth science teacher could bring their class up to the murals and have their students identify local things. So that's our first one, which features, I believe, a pike, possibly a loon. I'm not quite sure, because I'm not really great at bird identification. And then our second mural proposal would be have a bit more of a mountain age and focus more on local plant life. Personally, I think, I'm not used to this Promethean board. Personally, I think that this mural is a little bit stronger in composition. I like the forced perspective of the view up here. I think having more wildlife in there would be nice for students to see. So this is the wall that I'm proposing for this mural space. The sign is just taped up there, so it's no harm, no consequence. This is the fire signal here I was talking about, but our mural would stop right about before that. We could just tape it off, have it be a nice and clean line. It would look nice. And just for a viewpoint, almost directly across from this wall, this is where you see the cafeteria of the high school. So as students are coming in and out of the cafeteria from their lunch or from study halls, they would see this mural. And also, those of you who are unfamiliar with the high school, also it would be viewable from inside the lunchroom. Nice little windows right in the lunchroom. Down this hallway here is where you have G lobby, so the gymnasium would be here. So potentially, anyone who comes into the building for games or for student events in this area would be able to see this mural, assuming the hallway wasn't blocked off for one reason or another. So not only would the students get wonderful access to art that beautifies and enriches their environment, the general public would also get to appreciate this. So for this, I'm still too big. Now for the Education Arts Grant, there is stipulation for student engagement. The grant dictates that the artist or work with the group of children, students, whomever, has to meet for at least 3 different sessions, and they have to meet New York State educational criteria, guidelines. That won't be a problem at all. I didn't list those out, but if you want me to go into detail later, I can. So what Hannah and I have discussed and planned out is that she will give artist presentations to relevant classes, such as drawing and painting, some studio arts classes, and then also advanced art. We wanted Hannah to speak about her art as a professional artist who makes her living from doing murals and other artwork, to students, sharing her art, sharing how she learned with that process, so they can get a sense of the broader world, things that they can actually do with their skill sets. I want to keep it relevant to classes that are focused more on 2D. So, and then also, while the mural would be in progress, pending board approval, our classes will be brought down to see the mural in progress. You have a question?
No.
Okay.
Give me board approval.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. So we would bring students down, Jason and I would both, we've talked about this also, we would bring our classes down so they could see the mural in progress, and I could talk about the whole process of how she's making it, how she thinks about, how she maps it out. And then also select advanced students from advanced art, drawing and painting, kind of like cherry-picked students who would be capable, would be invited to help Hannah actually paint the mural during their study halls or during class time, pending teacher approval. We're not going to pull kids out of class without teacher permission, obviously. But that would be a great way to have student engagement and also give them a more note of pride and inclusivity and involvement in school. So this is the budget laid out from Hannah, and all of this would be paid for with the grant. It fits within grant guidelines of what the money can be spent on. So she's budgeting about $1,500 for the actual size of the mural. She goes by square foot. She's also allotting about $500 for materials such as paints, extra paint brushes, rollers, roller trays for students, a clear coat protectant. And then an extra $800 for her PowerPoints, lectures, dedicated time, and student engagement. So her grand total for her budget is $2,800. The maximum we can ask for the Education Art Grants is $3,000. So we are within the budget. We would ask for this. Oh, if I have one more slide. Guess not. So yeah, I guess that's about it. Are there any questions? Concerns?
Going forward with this, I certainly support it, and I actually like the first mural as well that she is referring to. But before we paint anything of that size, I wanted the board to have an opportunity to think about it and weigh in on it.
Cool. I did have one more thing to add I forgot about, sorry. So, for the record, Hannah, when she does large-scale murals like this, she likes to use interior house paints and occasionally when applicable. Because they are more durable and they are easy cleaned, there would be clear coat protectant on this, which would also make it easier cleaned in case things happen. And also, both Hannah and I do understand that murals and public art has a shelf life. So, if after, let's say, 20 years down the road, the mural's in rougher shape, it is okay, we understand that it might need to be touched up or painted over, these things happen, and it's okay, we can cross that bridge when we get to it.
So you put a clear glass over it, so the middle school has some murals up, and I think they have clear glass over,
Like a plexiglass?
over top of them too, to preserve them. Something like that.
That's also, yeah, an option too. Typically, or like if you ever like look up how murals improve schools or areas or public spaces, typically you will see a lower rate of graffiti in areas that are where there are murals because people respect where an area has been beautified and they respect the art that goes to it. You occasionally see some graffiti, but it's usually on the lower side. Sorry, I keep talking.
Any questions from the board? Any concerns with this idea?
No, I like it.
I have a comment. I just want to say, you're
This is my second year.
welcome to Bridgeville.
Oh, thank
And I
you.
just want to tell you, I mean, my experience with my children in art since from kindergarten on has been nothing but fantastic, right up until the end. So, I mean, welcome to the department, and you joined a pretty good team, because it seems to me from what I've seen since I've been on this board, a lot of children getting involved. And I have some of that artwork in my garage, in my house, and you know what I mean, that people, you know, my daughter's friends have made for me, my daughter's made, and it's pretty amazing, the artwork that's in the hallway up there. You know, when you go through that back corridor by the art room, it's some pretty amazing stuff there. You know, and even by the main office, it's pretty impressive. So keep up the good work. And, you know.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate that.
Now, you have your overwhelming support.
Wonderful.
Nice job with the presentation.
Thank you. So I guess all I need is a letter of support from the Board of Education, and I think that's about it.
We'll put that together.
Okay.
Yeah, Benny, you're gonna write that. In the garage.
All right, thanks. Next item is public comment. If anyone has any public comment out there in Facebook land, please put it on Facebook page. Either we'll answer at the end of the meeting or someone will reach out to you at the end afterwards.
Or something that we'll have to get to in 4 days ahead. If it's
Or
something
it
we
might take a couple days depending on. Next item is board discussion. We have Board of Education minutes from the September 7th meeting. Any questions or comments on those? All right, motion to approve those minutes by Ed, seconded by Vinnie. All in favor? We're good. Anybody else have anything else for board discussion tonight? All right. Next item on the agenda is the superintendent's report.
Good evening, everybody. Just wanted to thank all parents and guardians regarding transportation. Those who've been impacted have been great about getting the children to school. And an email this evening from Dr. Bosniak from BOCES. They expect all regular service will return by Thursday. Appreciate your patience as we continue to navigate our way through this. So assuming that there's no more quarantines in the transportation department of BOCES, we will have regular services return on Thursday morning. I'd also like to thank BOCES for how they've handled this. The administrative team has been outstanding in their communication with us and their ability to problem solve as they keep losing people due to quarantine. So we wish everybody a speedy recovery in that department and look forward to resuming that service. In regards to all things COVID, obviously cases continue to materialize here in our district. We are managing well enough as we are 18 plus months into this pandemic. I believe we have had zero hospitalizations of the cases we've had that we are grateful for. Many of our positive cases have been asymptomatic, meaning they have zero symptoms. So we're also happy that people aren't getting particularly sick, but we're very happy that there hasn't been hospitalizations. In the recent New York Times article, they said many scientists and virologists believe that this pandemic will be over sometime this winter. So maybe there's light at the end of the tunnel. I don't know. They're basing it on the history of other pandemics and the trends that they're seeing across our nation and across the world. Middle of winter usually seems to be the time when you'd have an end to something like this, but I'll take it. If that's something that we can believe in and hope for, we hope to see some signs of that in our region very soon. Attendance has been impacted more by quarantine, certainly, than transportation. The people who were lost transportation but got their children to school. But we have had a number of classes quarantined, students quarantined out of necessary precautionary measures. And we have been through the month of September. We started in the 90s, and in just about all of our buildings have gone down from there, and it's been with the increase of some cases. But we're roughly around mid-80s throughout the district. Pretty much K-12 is pretty consistent. So we hope to see those numbers climb back up to what they were in early September in the weeks and months ahead. There's no question being in school has a direct correlation with student success, academically speaking. Training of all non-vaccinated staff will commence following Columbus Day. BOCES is overseeing this, and they will give us a day that we are supposed to be doing our testing. Anybody who does not submit proof of vaccination will be assumed to be unvaccinated, will be included in those tests. And anybody who refuses to submit to those tests will be placed on unpaid leave. This is a condition of employment at this point. So I hope that people will allow themselves to be tested and not draw a line in the sand. It's completely unnecessary. We need our people. We want people working, and this is something that has been thrust upon us by the state. We do not have a choice to comply with it or not. And in the grand scheme of things, I hope people understand that make a stand somewhere else. Don't refuse to be tested and have it impact your family's income. Student forms require insurance information. This is something that I think is going to cause more people to not fill out that form, even though there's no way that parents will ever be asked to pay a copay. What I'm told is if a student tests positive, then the retest is what gets charged to a child's insurance company. And by law, the insurance company cannot impose a copay upon the family. So that's all well and good, and I can understand that. But unfortunately, we receive hundreds and hundreds of parents who agreed to allow us to test their children surveillance testing using this saliva swab. But I think when they fill out the online form and they see that they're asking for insurance information, there's going to get red flags are going to go up, and people aren't going to complete it. So that's unfortunate, but the truth is we have to offer it. I'm not going to go crazy trying to convince everybody that they need to sign it. I hope people do, so we can get an idea of how the contagion is spreading among our student body, if it is, if it's not. But that requirement for insurance information is going to be a PR issue that we're going to have to continue to speak about in the weeks ahead to get more students, parents to fill out that online form. Our capital project Boulevard is nearly complete, just punch list item things. That went very well, the weather cooperated, and the company worked 7 days a week through the weekends, minimal impact to the community. So we're grateful to have that building that needed that roof done, ready to go, and the impact to the students and parents pick up and drop off has been minimal. So that went very well. Chris, Dr. Wojcicki, Mike DeMagistris, and Danielle and I will be with the GTA leadership and building reps tomorrow to answer questions, concerns regarding COVID, quarantine, leave days, etc. There's a lot of questions regarding how that works. It's changed since last year. So hopefully we can answer a lot of questions from the staff. And while I'm speaking about staff, I just want to thank them for their professionalism. We asked them to, last week when transportation went down, to transition to synchronous learning for those students who couldn't make it, and our staff did an outstanding job. They answered the bell, and they did what they had to do to make sure that those students impacted by transportation are going to have an opportunity to learn. It's not just students in transportation, but it's also our quarantine children that need that opportunity as well. So big thank you to our staff for realizing that we're still in the middle of this, and we're all in this together, and rolling up our sleeves and offering the best education we possibly can. Dr. Wojcicki, Lori Kent, Nicole Martin, and I are also scheduling meetings across the district with teacher leaders and administrators to hear ideas and concerns regarding literacy and assessment. So looking forward to those conversations. Just wanted to congratulate Nicole Martin on her promotion, which is on the agenda tonight, to Director of Pupil Services. very hardworking, professional woman, and she's a great asset to the leadership team here in Missoula. So congratulations. And I'll need an executive session. She hasn't been appointed yet, don't clap. That's my joke. Want to give a speech? No. All right. I will need an executive session. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, Chris, did you have anything you wanted to add?
No, just quickly, we met with our district data coordinator, Meredith Tipton today. Meredith is a NERIC employee. She worked with the Mayfield Central School District for 3 years prior to this school year. She's a great asset to the Gloversville Enlarged School District. She'll be helping us with our student data, ensuring that it is as comprehensive and accurate as possible. We met with our administrators today, as well as several clerical members of our staff, Kathy and some of the admirers here. And again, just the level of support that she provides will be something that is greatly beneficial to the district, so we look forward to working with her. And in addition to that, I've been in the classrooms with all of our principals at this point in time, and the instruction that we've seen thus far has been very impressive. We certainly appreciate the teachers' efforts. Despite the challenges of COVID, we've seen wonderful instruction, so we appreciate that and ask them to keep up the great work.
Next item on the agenda, administrative reports, and we'll start first with Dr. Nally, principal at the high school.
Thank you, Mr. Curtis. I'll try to be as concise and as quickly as possible. Just some areas of concern that I'd like to bring up in the high school first. The bathrooms. The bathrooms are a little bit of a concern in order to keep it neat and tidy. As many people know, there was a little TikTok thing going around. I don't know if that had a huge effect on us. However, with paper towels being strewn, some things being, the gel being tainted, it's very hard for a two-person staff with the size of the building to keep them neat and tidy. So we're asking parents and kids to help us out in that fact of saying, hey, this is happening in the bathroom, we can clean it up quickly, or even telling us who and when and where those things are happening. Temporary solution that we've come up with is to lock one bathroom periodically throughout the day. It's not the best solution, it's not something we do like. However, it is something that we're going to do, and Mr. Bai, myself, and Central Admin will be brainstorming for more solutions to monitor those a little bit better. Attendance, Superintendent Halloran mentioned it. We are living at about 80%. We started off the month strong, around 90s. For the first 5 days, we were in the 90s. The next 5 days, we were in the high 80s. The third week, we struggled to be in the 80s. And then the last 4 days of the month, we were low 80s. We are meeting weekly. We are enacting normal procedures of letters, contacts, home visits, things like that. But Dr. Wojcicki has granted us the ability to be a part of a attendance think tank with Mr. Torres, a part of CASDA, and we'll be going to those and hoping to really generate some more ideas to increase that attendance. So thank you, Dr. Wojcicki, for that. The add drop period, we did have an add drop period at the high school. We had approximately 60 requests to add drop courses. Mostly it was dropping courses. Mr. Bai again and I met with school counselors, and we were able to meet a majority of those requests, as well as ensuring that kids didn't just drop classes to go into study halls. So we did have to drop one course, an AP Lit course. But again, with the help of Dr. Wojcicki and the efforts of Michelle Flynn, one of our ELA teachers, we were able to take that AP Lit course and drop that and make a kind of trade and go with another concurrent enrollment class in a collaboration with FMCC. So we are still offering those concurrent enrollment opportunities, and we did have to drop the AP Lit course. So again, thank you, Dr. Wojcicki, for making that happen and helping us there. School counselors promoting Naviance. Our school counselors through the month of September have gone into all the freshman seminar classes to describe their role in detail and introduce Naviance program. Naviance program is just a career pathway program and also talks about college exploration. It's very solid, and we're glad to get into those freshman classes. So thank you to those school counselors. The junior prom, our advisors, Mrs. Shauna Ray Haley and Mrs. Mary Mulligan, reported that they did a survey with their juniors, and 83% of them chose to hold off on their prom for this year, do not plan a prom for this year, but host a Gloversville High School juniors only semi-formal dance. Hopefully, as Superintendent Holler reported, maybe the restrictions will loosen, we'll get out of the COVID cloud in the spring, and be able to really pull something off maybe in their next year. For the semi-formal dance. They did have a class meeting on Monday to discuss this further, and the decisions to hold things off for the senior year was reinforced at that meeting. Chromebook distribution. We have 675 students enrolled at the Gloversville High School. Of those, 486 have filled out the proper information on Family ID and have been issued a Chromebook. So we want to thank all the families out there for doing that. We really appreciate it. And sign the technology use policy. One student in the system has their own device. We know there's more out there. 33 students at GHS have not been issued a Chromebook because they did not return it or had damage to one last year and have to fix that. So we will work with those families and try to get that. Minus the numbers for those of you that are doing the math, at that time that leaves about 118 students at the high school that have not filled out the Family ID form. I'm working with Carla Mackey, who is our teacher technology support specialist. We are going to cross-reference those lists and contact those families to make sure that they have what they need. In the event we do have to turn on the dime again so that they're assured instruction if we have to change instructional modalities due to the pandemic. And let's see, transportation issues. Gloversville High School, 114 students were affected from the Gloversville High School by the transportation issues. 75% of those students were able to get to school every day during that time. Our school counselors contacted or attempted to contact the other 25%, which in raw numbers is about 20 to 30 students. Had what they need to stay current. Contact have been successful. They have what necessary to Zoom. And Dr. Wojcicki and I did some walkthroughs in the last week. I also did some walkthroughs with Department Chair Mrs. Karen Poulin today, and Google Classrooms were streaming and faces were seen. So thank you to those students for turning on your cameras. That's a great thing. So we were happy about that. The Spirit Week will be next week. It's wonderful. And we have a little bit of an SEL component. It's on the Jumbotron if you want to come up and see that, or just come in and ask. That would be great. Cafeteria. Eating outdoors. It has been really great, to be honest. This month of September, having to eat outdoors, I really felt gave them an opportunity to just bond with each other. They were sitting under trees. They were eating. It was really nice atmosphere. And as the inclement weather has come, we've had to move inside into the gymnasium, and the kids have made a pretty smooth transition to that too. So we thank you for that, and we also have senior privileges that allow students to go out and eat, and that has helped keep some of the numbers down. So whole cafeteria is running pretty smooth. So we thank our cafeteria staff and our supervisors. And the last thing, the homecoming dance and pep rally. Spirit Week is next week, the 12th through 15th. We've decided to hold off on any homecoming events such as the pep rally and the dance until the spring as well. So that is the report. I think there it is. Do you have any questions or concerns or anything I can clarify?
Locking the bathroom, like in the last couple of years, was there a complaint or?
Yes, I can answer that. So we did, because our numbers were probably, I want to say it was a couple of years ago, it was about 800, and we were close to the numbers of being out of compliant. And to be honest, I believe we closed 2 bathrooms, and that put us out of compliance. Mr. Bives runs numbers, we have the memo, and we are in compliance with 1 bathroom. We have enough numbers, and I forget the terms they use. I think it's wash basins and urinals and lavatories to accommodate the student body.
So we had a conversation about this earlier week. I really dove into it too much, but obviously we don't love the solution. It'd be nice if people respected the facilities that they use, but in the short term, if this is an easier way to monitor, make sure they're being used properly, I'm willing to go along with it as we brainstorm better solutions. but I think you need to communicate what bathrooms are going to be closed so that a kid who, needs to use the restroom really badly knows which restrooms that day are closed, so they're not walking in the wrong direction for a period of time. Because certainly would not ever want to have a kid have an accident because they think they're going to a bathroom that's locked. I did this as a principal as well. Kids were vandalizing. It's a temporary solution at best. I mean, I
100% agree, and actually, let's see.
No, I'd like to piggyback on that. I mean, if we only got one bathroom open, and we got, I don't know how many custodians, can we make sure they're clean? Because both my girls don't even like to use the bathrooms in the high school, and it's not a shot, but like, going all day without using a bathroom, I mean, to me is a little, so at least if we only have one bathroom open, let's make sure they're clean.
Oh, no, we have.
Well, if there's two, I don't care how many, let's make sure they're clean. Half through the day, they should be cleaned out because, the kids are refusing, they don't want to go to the bathroom in there, like, it breaks my heart thinking about my child going all day without having, take a leak, So,
Sorry.
no, go ahead, no,
We
that's what I'm saying.
have 13 bathrooms, we're closing one, periodically on a rotation basis. And a student actually came to us, Superintendent Halloran, and asked if we could do that as well, and we will be informing the students which ones we do. Anything else? Mr. Bai, did I miss anything? All right, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Next report,
Good evening. I know a number of you want to get home to watch the Yankee game, so I'll try to make this brief and not take up the remaining 40 minutes first pitch. In terms of our attendance, with similar numbers this year to the high school and what Mr. Halloran has echoed in his comments earlier. Started off the year in the mid-90s, slowly declined into the 80s and the high 70s, and then this past week, due to quarantines and the busing issue, we're in the low 70s. So we're trending in the wrong direction, which is concerning to us. If we factor out the number of quarantines and the issues related to the buses, our numbers stay in the low 90s, high 80s for these 4 weeks. We've had 139 students in our building moved to quarantine so far this year. It's roughly 24% of our student body, which is concerning. This Delta variant is certainly wreaking havoc in ways on our building. We're reinforcing the masking protocol, safety protocol, social distancing with our staff and students to make sure everybody's doing their part to cut down on the amount of quarantines necessary when we do have those positive cases. Those quarantine numbers result to 748 instructional days. With the busing issue as well, we lost an additional 92. We had roughly 75 students impacted by the transportation issue this past week. Only 9 of them missed all 5 days of the week. The other students were able to get here. We've worked with those 9. A couple of them have been able to get on the bus this week, and the other families to make sure that they're streaming into their class and not missing any more class time than they need to due to that issue. I do want to also echo Mr. Halloran's sentiments in terms of thanking our staff for the seamless transition to synchronous learning. A late Sunday email was all that was sent, and our staff picked up Monday morning, no questions asked, and were there to deliver instruction to those students who were at home, both due to quarantine and the transportation situation. So thank you to our staff for stepping up. Bathrooms have also been an area of concern at the middle school. I do believe the devious lists, pranking on TikTok has played a role in that. We've had, in particular, boys' bathrooms vandalized a handful of times, but due to some of the procedures we had in place prior to the start of this year, with bathrooms being monitored, students using them one at a time, signing in and out, we have been able to identify the students who are responsible and give them swift consequences for their actions. And it seems to have cut down on the amount, and hopefully that trend continues. In terms of the instructional appointments, and some of the non-instructional appointments on tonight's agenda, most of them are middle school related. Dave wanted me to touch base on some of those and sort of justify the rationale. We have 16 extra class sections being taught in our building this year. That's teachers teaching a 6th class. In 2 instances, we have teachers teaching a 7th class. We are down 2 full-time staff members this year due to last-second resignations on the last week of the summer, first week of the school year, which kind of left us hanging in the balance. We're able to cover those lost sections with in-house staff, but it's caused a strain on our schedule to make that work. As a result of those teachers teaching those extra sections, we lose supervisory duties. So we're also asking for an additional number 9 supervisions as part of the agenda tonight. And the other big piece is our AM supervision. Pre-COVID, we opened our doors at 7:30. Students will be housed here in the gathering area, the cafeteria for breakfast, all 3 grade levels at a time in one large area. At 7:40, the 6th and 7th graders could go down into their respective wings, go to their lockers and get ready for homeroom. And at 7:55, the 8th graders could go upstairs to do the same. We have 1 or 2 staff members in the cafeteria, 1 in the bus zone, and then another 4 or 5 in the gathering area providing that supervision. But having 500 students in this area out here with only a handful of staff that we're supervising is a recipe for disaster, and has been an issue as long as I've worked at the middle school. With COVID taking place and the safety protocols, we completely overhauled what we were doing for this last school year. Students come in, they immediately report to homeroom, they grab breakfast on their way if they need it. But to provide that supervision in homerooms, as well as in the gathering area and the entrances to make sure students are coming in and getting where they need to safely, we had to add a number of extra AM supervision stipends last year. I believe we had 42 in all, which is an increase of 34 over our previous protocols were. This year, we are providing the same amount of coverage. In fact, we've actually expanded our coverage, so now that we have people out in the entrance outside, as well as in the bus zone, and covering our 31 homerooms. We met with members of the TA and aid negotiating units to look at their contracts and revamp their start and stop times to make better use of them in the morning. And we've expanded our coverage, as I said, and only need an additional 15 stipends this year over the traditional 8 or 9 that we would have normally had. So we've increased coverage and cutting down the number that we had dramatically by over half for last year. So we appreciate you taking a look at that for us so that we can provide the necessary supervision. Middle school supervision is pretty crucial. It's a developmentally a tough age group, even students trying to figure out who they want to be and test boundaries, and any chance to misbehave often is taken advantage of, so we want to try to provide as much supervision as we can. I appreciate your support in allowing us to do that. So on a more positive note, Hey, can we stop, like, human supervision, just an observation? Like, I mean, I have to pick my daughter up sometimes, and, bring her stuff, whatever. There's kids that go out this front door, and then they stream up in front of admin office and go to the same spot. Why are they going out that door and walking around instead of going out that door and leaving that way? I mean, is there any way you can fix that? I mean, if it was just like 1 or 2 kids, I'd be like, no big deal. But it's a slew of them, and they're walking the road, they're walking on wet grass, and, it's pouring out. Like, why are they?
Is it high
Are they
school?
going out this? No, right here. Why are they going out this door and then walking all the way around this building when they're going to Spring Street?
No, I'm saying, are they coming from a high school?
No. This is right at.
We can certainly reinforce with our students who are walking home to leave through the bus.
I'm just saying, you see what
It's a safety concern, for sure.
that show that it is out there to begin with, so
Definitely a
the less
safety
kids
concern.
walking up and down with all this traffic, the better.
There's no sidewalk on that stretch of road.
No,
Students
and
should-
there's none once they get past admin, it's just,
Yeah.
sometimes when there's admin meetings, you got cars parked right there, and now they're walking on either, I'm just worried somebody's gonna get hit, you know?
absolutely.
It's chaos out there to begin with, now you got kids, you know, bus going through, it's, you know, it's an observation.
We could absolutely reinforce with those students that they should be leaving through the bus entrance, or exit, excuse me, and walking down either Lincoln or Spring Street and not wrapping around the building. Definitely a safety concern. School will also be participating in Spirit Week next week. We're piggybacking on what the high school is doing, and we're actually going to be doing a lot of the same SEL things in the mornings as part of that process as well. We'll be bringing in Tay Fisher to meet with our 6th, 7th, and 8th grades individually at the end of October. October is anti-bullying month, so we bring him to do presentations about the importance of being aware of bullies and helping out your peers. He'll be doing a presentation to each of the 3 grade levels, and then meeting with the 7th and 8th graders the following day to talk about being resilient, overcoming obstacles, and trying to conquer the deficit mind that often plagues this community. And we will be kicking off our SD Cup initiative in the coming weeks. Prior to COVID, we had started a Color Wars initiative. This is the same thing under a different name. Color Wars didn't seem to be too appropriate given the current climate, so we changed it to the SD Cup. And we're currently breaking the students up into their homeroom teams. We'll be starting that initiative in the PBIS efforts and points system that goes with that. And we're excited to get that started. I know the kids are excited to have it back. So thank you very much. Any questions?
Thank you. The whole letter.
Next item on the board, the board report.
So I had a girl come up to me today and talk about the school being pretty cool. I don't think there's much we could do about that, but I've had a couple students come up to me complain about, during the beginning of the school year, how hot it was and now how cold it is. That's something that I thought I should bring up. Another thing was homecoming.
Cold in the building.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've had students come to me complaining about, the temperature in the building. Now it's pretty cold. It used to be pretty hot. They were complaining. I'm not sure if there's anything we could do about it, but I figured I'd just bring it up. The other one was homecoming. I know that just got pushed back to spring, but I know it was changed from we could bring outside guests to now we can't, and I've had some students come up to me very concerned about that too. Hopefully that's something that we can change when the time comes. I'm glad that we're having I'm actually glad that we're having a homecoming, because last year we couldn't. So I think a really good thing that's going on. We're also having an annual blood drive soon, so that's really nice. And I can't wait for that to happen. So other than that, that's all I got for tonight. Sorry.
How are you doing with masks?
They're pretty good about it. They've got them on. I don't see too many complaining. About homecoming, they did complain about having to wear them outside. So.
That's why we need to try to push it off so that you can have best experience.
Definitely, yeah.
I know it's our time.
Oh, yeah, definitely, yeah.
These are great. I mean, obviously, Melissa can speak, principals can certainly speak to it better than I can, but from what I can tell, the kids have been really compliant and patient. So we appreciate that.
Right. Thank you, Marlon.
Thank you.
Next item is recommended action. We have 8.01 through 18.70. We'll need to vote on 18.25 separately. Want to have any questions, need anything else pulled for voting? Sitting to your left. To your left, Benny, that's why. To your left, that's why we got to vote on it separately. Motion to approve. At least he's here tonight, right? Motion to approve 8.01 through 18.70. Motion by Kevin, seconded by Sharon. All in favor on those? Motion to approve 18.25. Somebody? By Kevin, seconded. All right, Kelly, thank you, Kelly. All in favor? Aye. One abstention on that. All right, I need a motion to go into executive session to discuss contractual items tonight. Motion for that. Kevin, thank you.
Are there any questions?
There's been no questions.
No questions. Okay.
Seconded by Kelly, thank you. All in favor? Aye. Thank you. There'll be no action taken afterwards. Thank you all for watching tonight.
Thank you.